I got a ton of questions for you,
I'm
and
ready.
and they're all over the spectrum. But I want to start with, you have produced a ton of movies and television shows. If someone had never seen anything you have made, what do you want them starting with?
Get Out.
That was an immediate.
That was an immediate because at best, it's the ultimate of what I'm trying to do. It's low budget. It's a director who at the time nobody believed in. It's scary, it's entertaining, it's well acted, and it has something to say. I mean, it's like the perfect Blumhouse movie in every way, really.
In the past 10 years, what it has been the toughest project for you to get off the ground?
I mean, there are a handful of them. There's a movie that looks like it's actually, getting closer, but Stoner I've had for over 10 years. There's which is a novel, a great American novel. There's a movie based on an article called Speck in the Sea about these two fishermen, this great story of these two fishermen in Montauk, that I'm still trying to get off the ground. Those are the two front runners of the hardest ever to get done.
Jumping into Welcome to the Blumhouse, Amazon doesn't really release numbers, and I'm just curious, last year with the films that you released, how did they do? Like, no one ever actually says it.
Well, that's a great question, because I think it's very important. It's very important to me as a filmmaker to know how our movies performed. So they actually were very transparent with us about the performance of the movies. They don't say it publicly, but at least they say it to the filmmakers. And they were very transparent with us, and the movies did very well. They were very happy with them. Some did better than others. What they were most happy with is that they got new subscribers or subscribers who had discontinued, and then they opened up their subscription again, which was great, which means we tapped into a different audience than all the other people working on all the other shows that Amazon was doing. And in terms of the proof is in the pudding always. So I think if this next 4 movies performs as well as the last 4, then we're going to do this. We're going to continue to do this, and I hope we'll continue for quite a long time. I'm quite confident that we will.
What did you learn making the films last year that you applied to these films?
I learned that we set out to do 8 movies by 8 directors from underrepresented groups of people. And what I wanted to do this year, more than we did the first time around, was have that not only choose the director, but have the actual movies relate to that. So have the movies be about marginalized groups. And I think the 4 movies work more cohesively as a whole, and that each of these movies is very clearly about a marginalized group of people on screen. So underrepresented directors telling stories that from a different point of view, from a point of view that people who look like you and I haven't felt before.
How does it work with Amazon in terms of, you obviously have an amazing track record. After the first 4 films, are they like a little hands off? How much are they collaborating on which films are actually going to get made?
They leave that to us, but I wouldn't, I'd be very reluctant to make a movie if they laid down on the tracks and said, please don't do this. I wouldn't do it, but technically they don't have the right to do that. I get to choose the movies. And so far we've agreed. We've never had a case where I wanted to make something they haven't wanted to make.
One of the things that I really admire and respect about these films that you're making is you're bringing in a lot of new voices, and a lot of them are first-time feature filmmakers, even though they've made shorts or whatever else. When do you know when you're talking to someone they can do it? They can make a feature, and this is going to be good.
You don't know until after they've done the movie, to tell you the truth. But you try and meet with them a few times, and we have executives at the company who do that, and you've got to go with your gut. But you never really know if someone can make a movie until the movie's done. You never know.
with the 4 films that are coming out in a few days and in a week, if someone has the time to watch one movie on a Friday night, which is the one you'd like them to start with?
Of the 4, I can't pick a favorite. I can't pick a favorite movie,
It's not like anyone's going to watch this. Come on, I'm joking.
Yeah, right. But watch the first one that's on. If you like that, then watch the next 3.
Okay. When I mentioned on Twitter that I was going to be talking to you, and when I mentioned to my staff, something that came up a number of times was Five Nights at Freddy's. Everyone kept on being like, "What's going on with that?" So I'm asking you, what's going on with that?
It's really tough to crack. We've written multiple scripts, and we're threading a needle, which is doing justice to Five Nights at Freddy's and making Scott happy. The only way that we would go about it is giving Scott, I don't want to do something that Scott doesn't like. Or in fact, but let me say that a different way. I don't have the right to do anything Scott doesn't like. Scott has kind of like the equivalent of final cut. And it's taken longer than I hoped to find, to get the right story. But we're a long ways from giving up, and I'm confident eventually I will figure it out.
Is Chris Columbus still attached?
Chris Columbus is no longer attached.
Do you have a filmmaker on it, or is it? Where can you share?
We cannot. That is classified information.
I'll leave it alone. What's going on with Wolfman?
Wolfman, we are also working on the script. Got to get the script right. In that case, it's Ryan Gosling, not Scott Cawthorn, but working on trying to get a script that he feels good about and comfortable about and excited about.
You are going into business with John Logan, who I'm a big fan of, and he's going to make his feature directorial debut with you.
He's shooting it already. We started shooting.
So I was going to ask you, what was it about that project that said, I want to make this?
It felt like to reference your first question at the beginning. It definitely felt like a Blumhouse movie. It's a scary, great, fun, entertaining movie. He has if anyone can write, it's John Logan, but it's also about something. So I was very drawn to that. We had made a documentary about conversion therapy called Pray Away. So it's a topic near to my heart, only in that I just find it's just one of those things. Like, I find it extraordinary that in the United States that exists. I just find it unbelievable. And I think it's like horrible. It should be illegal. It should not be allowed. And the misery that these kids suffer going through it. I just find it very sad. And so I want to shine a light on it any way I can. And the documentary did, but not very many people saw it. So I'm hoping a movie, a lot more people will see. But just to be clear, I didn't pitch the idea to John Logan. He came up with it. He wrote that script entirely on his own, on spec. And when I read it, I said, "Oh my God, I love this. We want to do it." But it was entirely his idea.
Yeah, I'm saying thank you for making the movie, because I also agree with everything you said. I'm also a huge Bryan Fuller fan, and I know you're going to be, hopefully, what's the story with Christine and him?
We actually recently got a script, which was terrific, and we're going to try and make it into a movie. That's my plan.
Got it. Do you think it's going to be filming? Do you think it could be filming next year?
Never say never. I'm an optimist.
Okay, another film you made that I love is Upgrade. Love that movie.
Upgrade was a great movie.
Oh my God, it's so good. And I know you guys have talked about making a TV series based on the material.
Upgrade should have been a wide release. I was pissed about that.
Upgrade, by the way, is fucking great. So anyone who's watching this who has not seen it needs to see it.
It's the Upgrade. Should see Upgrade. Working on the scripts, this first round didn't come out. I didn't get the response I wanted to get. I don't want to be in development. I want an order. So we're working on the scripts again so that we can get an order, and I don't want to develop it. Halloween
Kills is getting a day and date release on Peacock and in theaters. Can you sort of talk about how that came about and I guess your feelings on it? Because a lot of us were surprised, but I also think Peacock needs like movies like that to get people to sign up?
Well, that's true. That's not why. It was my idea to do it. They didn't approach me. I approached them. Like everyone else, I'm a big believer in the theatrical experience. I think there should be windows. I think Universal strategy of the 3-week window is a great strategy. But I had a bad distribution experience with Freaky. Like that movie is a great movie, and it didn't get seen because the distribution of it got all twisted up. My fault. And I didn't want to go through that experience again. I didn't want to have a movie that I'm really proud of, that I think is great, and have there be an excuse why people didn't see it. So I'm the one who pitched Universal, and then I pitched Jamie and David, and it was my idea, and I stand behind it. I'm glad that we're doing it. I don't want to do it for the third movie. I want to go back to traditional windows, but I don't. COVID is incredibly unpredictable. And I didn't want to risk it again. And I felt like I did that with Freaky, and it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. So I don't want to repeat that experience.
What is actually the status of the Universal monster movies that you're working on besides Wolfman? Do you have what other films are you sort of developing?
We do. We have 2 or 3 we're developing. They're not yet announced, so I can't talk about them. But the status with Universal Monsters is no different than it's ever been. Universal is in charge of the Universal Monsters, but we've come up with a few ideas that they've liked for a few of their other ones, and hopefully we'll turn those into movies.
I'm out of time, but I just have to ask you real quick: are you making a Happy Death Day 3?
I have a plan. I'm not, put it this way. I'm not saying goodbye to Happy Death Day. I'll say it like that.
Got it. I'm going to leave it there and just say I had other questions, but I'm out of time. Listen, always great to talk with you, and congratulations on breaking 100,000 Twitter followers.
Well, thank you. Please help me get more.
I think it was my tweet that got you over the edge.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate that. Was a big moment for me.